G'day historians. So today we are going to look at the glossary, the words we use to describe the ancient past. So our learning goals here is to build a strong vocabulary. We want it to be comprehensive and specific. We know we'll be able to, we've done it well. We can spell the words and use them correctly in the appropriate written context. Now, for example, here our first round. These are the words to do with history. We have prehistory, which is like the time before written records. We have history, which is the study of past events, particularly in human affairs. And it's weird. Often when we think history, we think big, important history. But like the really mundane stuff, that's the stuff that counts, just as much because it tells us what the daily life was like in the past and so on. Mesopotamia means two rivers, and this is the region we have here. It's between the Tigris and the Euphrates, and it's in the middle of what is modern day Iraq. This is recognized as the cradle of some of the world's earliest civilizations. And then we have a pharaoh, which is an Egyptian ruler. And again, that'll come up in a little while. So let's have some history basics. First, we have BCE, before Common Era, which is a time period prior to the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is the calendar we use today. If it's 2023, that means it's 2023 CE, which is the Common Era. So it's a period denoted by the start of the Gregorian calendar. Now, we use the Gregorian calendar as our thing, but we use BCE and CE as our language because that is inclusive language. It's not just sticking to one particular part of the globe. Domestication is the process of adapting wild plants and animals into human use, and a domestic species is actually different to a wild species. It requires us to live. So here, for example, we have a modern cow. Cows come from the aurochs, which was this giant beast of a cattle, which is, modern cattle is pretty big too. But for example, what we did to get control of it and to adapt it to living with humans was we only bred the calmest and the smallest of the cattle to get a really sort of regular, docile animal that was useful for us. Then we have cultural concepts. So, for example, culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of particular people. Like schools have a culture. The place where you live has a culture, and so on. We have nomad. That's a member of a group of people who travel from place to place, and they find fresh pasture for animals, and has no permanent structure home. But like they still might move from place to place. So they'll still have a regular pattern where they move. We have the oral tradition, which is where a community's cultural and historical traditions, laws, etc., stories, mythos, these are passed down by word of mouth from one generation to another without written instruction. And it's something that is often looked down on in historical circles. But over the last couple of decades, I've come to realize that it's actually one of the most accurate ways of maintaining an accurate history of what happened in the past. We have interbreeding, which is the exchange of genetic information. So making babies through mating of two different groups of populations. And we have a pantheon, which is the collection of deities, that's your gods and such, and goddesses of a particular region of culture. And then as historians, we like to look at historical evidence. Now, there's a lot to cover here. So we have archaeology, which is the study of past cultures through physical and material remains. We have paleontology, which is the study of ancient life through fossils. Architecture, which is the art of designing and constructing buildings. Mundane, we talked about that earlier, how like knowing what things were like in the ordinary day to day. That's the mundane, and that's very important. Ceramic, so things made from clay. This is often what we find in older materials and modern materials, to be honest. Alloy, which is a metal made from joining two metals together, and it was actually one of the really early ways they found of using softer metals by combining with harder metals. And we have artifacts. So an artifact is an object made by humans of cultural or historical interest. Then we have ancient humans. This is a really fun one, right? So we have anthropology, which is the study of human societies and cultures and their development. We anthropomorphize. That's where we attribute human characteristics to or behavior to a non-human. And this is actually something we have to try and avoid. Homo sapiens, that's us, unless some Neanderthals have hung around and learned how to use YouTube. We are the primate species to which, again, we belong. Humans are regarded as a species. We have hominids, is the primate family of Hominidae, which includes us and our fossil ancestors and some of the great apes. That's hominids. And then we have hominins, which are our primates, primate group, which is the species which are human. So that's us and our very close ancestors. It is not the great apes, and you see that here. So, we've got some of the great apes which are very, very closely related to us. Okay, so governance. So when governance means things which are in charge, we have the empire, which is a collection of states or countries governed by a central power, like the Roman Empire or the British Empire. We have the colonies. These are the settlements in new territories, and they retain ties. So they're still linked to the other ones. We have complexity. This is the state or quality of being intricate, interconnected, and complicated. In other words, empires tend to be complex because they, are tying in people from different places with different interests. Republic, which is a system of government in which citizens choose who represents them. And then we have the city-state, which is a self-governing city or town and its surrounding territory. We have a hierarchy. This means that there are, order. So we have a system in which members of society are ranked according to importance or authority. Bureaucracy, this is a thing within the government in which decisions are taken by state officials rather than elected people. And that's actually, some people, we have different opinions on this, but a bureaucracy means the goal there is to take away the whims of an individual and keep it fairer. And then we have dynasty. It's a succession of people from one family or group of, selected from one person down to the next, who play a prominent role in politics, running the country, business, and so on. There was a lot there. I hope you took lots of notes. I hope that made sense. Give a practice writing some sentences about that, like using those phrases. And yeah, if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye now.